Hello my friend and welcome to another episode of Lessons on Learning. Quick fire videos, 15 minutes or less, just exploring the different ways in which people learn and how we can use that information to create effective and engaging training sessions for our learners. You know, at the beginning of every class, it's really pivotal, really important that we address some outstanding issues that often our learners have. There are usually 3 questions floating around that every learner has at the beginning of the session. The trick is these questions are not necessarily said out loud or vocalized in any way. They live in our learners' heads, but unless we deal with them and address them, they're going to occupy all of their thoughts and attention and really impede on the effectiveness of our class. So let's explore what they are and how we can deal with them. Let's go. So these are 3 questions that almost every learner, even audience member, has at the beginning of a session. And it's nothing personal against us as an educator or the training itself. It's just simply human nature to be curious about these 3 things. Now, as I said before, it's very unlikely that a learner is going to raise their hand and ask this question out loud. But I promise you, the question's kind of floating around in their head, and so it's really important that we deal with it. Now, these questions are in no particular order and they may be worded in slightly different ways, but they definitely are there and they're going to kind of come out in some way. So the first of those questions is a really simple one. You know, why are we here? Why am I here? What's the purpose of this class? What's the point of it all? Now, I know the learner's already signed up for something, but we don't know. They could have been told to have been there. Maybe they feel under some kind of obligation to be there, or maybe they're just curious. Either way, we have to deal with that curiosity, deal with that question, and give them a reason. What's the purpose of this class? So let's dive in and figure out how we can answer that. So the first question, why am I here? What's the purpose? What's the point? And it's really about that. It's really about purpose. It's really about the point of the class. So what I recommend that you do is have a look out into the wider world and think to yourself, is there a situation? Is there a scenario? Is there a problem that your class content addresses? Is the class there for to address a reason that you've seen happening out there? So is there some kind of problem out there? Is there some kind of situation that exists out there that your class addresses or deals with? And it's worth talking about that early on. Maybe you could ask a question, or maybe you could make a statement, something that addresses a particular situation. Hey, have you noticed how much online stuff there is out there at the moment, and how so many of us are having to work from home and have meetings on Zoom? Well, this class is going to help us deal with that and utilize the technology and the equipment so that we get the very best experiences. Does that make sense? Hey, I don't know if you've noticed right now, but money's very tight and the economy's taking a little bit of a nosedive. So in this class, we're going to figure out how we can maximize our opportunities to create more benefits for ourselves and our families, whatever it is. So think of a particular problem, situation, or scenario that exists out there already that you think your class is there to address, okay? And then you can say the point of this class is so that we can walk away knowing this, doing that, having the other. All good? Making sense, my friend? Fantastic. All right. Let's move on to the second question that our learners are asking themselves. And the second question they're asking themselves is a really personal one. And actually, it's really prominent. And it's out of the 3, this is probably the most urgent of the questions that you really need to address. It's not selfish, it's not self-centered, it's just human nature. And the question is, what's the benefit of this class? Not the purpose, what's the benefit to me, the learner? In other words, what's in this for me? What am I going to get out of this? So again, let's dig deep and explore how we can address this and really get the learner on board. And you may have come across this a lot, this particular acronym, what's in it for me? And again, don't think of this as being kind of like a selfish question or a self-centered question. It's a genuine inquiry. I've invested some time, some money, and some energy. So what's going to be the benefit of me sitting here and paying attention, participating in this class? Now, most educators at this point, what they'll do is they'll talk about the agenda. Here's what we're going to learn today. What they're actually saying is, here's what I'm going to teach today. That's a slightly different thing. Here's the agenda for the day, and here's what you're going to walk away with. So that's okay, that's important, but it's not really a benefit. So the agenda today is we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to walk away knowing this, that, and the other. Well, that's okay, but again, what's in it for me? How will I benefit from this? So think about the online classes, for instance, that we talked about. Instead of saying today we're going to learn how to set up our equipment, talk to a camera, and create really amazing online content, and at the end of this class you'll know how to put together an online class. Well, that's okay, but instead think of a benefit to that. By the end of this class, if I could share with you how to do really effective, engaging online classes so that you didn't have to worry about where your next audience came from, so you could work anywhere in the world from the comfort of your own home, would that be a benefit to you? Is this making sense? So what's the benefit rather than just necessarily what's the outcome? It's not the same as the purpose. What's in it for me? Try and think of it as being something a little bit more personal, something that the learner can genuinely benefit from. All good so far? Let's have a look at the third and final question. And again, these three questions are not in any particular order, so don't think of them as being a checklist. And it's, again, I'll emphasize, it's very unlikely that they're going to be asked out loud. Sometimes a learner doesn't even know that they're asking themselves these questions, but I promise you, my friend, the questions are there, so address them. And the third point to address is, who are you? Who are you? And that doesn't mean what's your name or where do you come from. It's a little bit more specific than that. So let's get into it. The question is really, who are you in relation to teaching me this class, giving me this presentation, conducting this training? So what a learner is asking for is not necessarily your qualifications or your credentials, although they could be important. It's more important, really, that we talk about our experiences as it relates to delivering this training session. So it could be that we've got lots of qualifications and lots of credentials, and that's really important, that's really impressive. But what really matters to a learner is, do you know how it feels to be me? Do you know what it feels like to be in my shoes? Can you relate to the issues that I'm having now? And can you understand the reasons why I'm here? So it's really about your particular experiences. And importantly, it's also about the things that, oh, hang on, I've done that. I've misspelled that. Let me spell that slightly better. It's also about the things that you've learned too, the lessons that you've learned, the mistakes that you've made, the discoveries that you've made as well. So by all means, talk about your qualifications and your credentials if it's relevant, but don't forget to put some personal stuff in there as well. I know what it feels like to have the problems that you've got. I figured a way through it, and I really feel that I'm in a good position to be able to help you with this. So in other words, what gives you the right to stand in front of this class and talk to these people about this particular content? This making sense, my friends? So these three questions, or they could be concerns, are going to be floating around in the heads of your learners. And unless you address them quite quickly and deal with it, those questions are going to occupy a lot of space, and they're going to be thinking about this rather than thinking about your content. So at the beginning of your class, make it quite informal, make it quite friendly, make it quite conversational, but just address those points. Hey everybody, this is why we're here today. This is why the class is so important. This is what you're going to get out of the class today. This is how it's going to benefit you and help you. And this is why I feel I'm in a good position to be able to deliver it to you. Just address those in the first few minutes, and I promise you, you'll really help your learners to get buy-in, to become committed, to become engaged, and the rest of your content will flow so much easier. So thanks again for joining us on another episode of Lessons on Learning. If you've enjoyed this video, drop me a comment. Make sure you hit the like button. If there's another video that you'd like me to cover on a subject that you're particularly struggling with, let me know. I'll do a video on that. Most importantly, share this with anybody who you think might benefit from it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that we can create this great education community and benefit ourselves, and most importantly, benefit our learners. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.